It was July 2010, and my boyfriend and I had just moved to Chicago together. Zach had taken a job as a physical therapist, and I enrolled in grad school at DePaul. Zach suffered from anxiety and was easily overwhelmed, which, for whatever reason, I was completely delighted by. Upon returning to our apartment after a long day charming his elderly physical therapy patients, Zach needed space and time to himself before he could relax with me. I had trouble remembering this. Most days went as follows. I would hear the click of the lock. I would spring from the couch, still in my pajamas after a day spent pretending to write papers, and rush to the door. Zach would slide inside our apartment with his hands up in the air, repeating, "Hold on, hold on, hold on." I would try my hardest not to hug him as I bounced nearby, word vomiting every thought I kept to myself all day. "Hi, honey, how are you? How was the drive? How was work? Did you see that one lady that I like? Did you know that our bedroom window doesn't open? What should we eat tonight? I've been thinking we should really get some curtains for the family room. Something with a pattern. What do you think?" And once his gloves, hat, and scarf were in the bin in the closet, his boots on the rug by the door, and his bag with his laptop safely under the side table, he would turn to me with his arms open wide and say, "Come give Big Papa some love." Occasionally, Zach would come home and cook for us. Our galley kitchen increased his anxiety tenfold. Somehow, taking off his shirt helped. Sweating, shirtless, and frantic over the stove, he would often respond to my questions with, "Babe, I can't talk right now. There's a lot of shit going on in here and I can't talk. You just stay right there." If I wanted to have a conversation with him while he cooked, he insisted that I stand just outside the kitchen, watching to make sure that my feet weren't encroaching as he ran a quick hand through his coarse, wavy brown hair. I loved living with him, getting a front row seat to his weirdness, the spreadsheeting of everything, from finances, to fantasy football, 2 miles run on each pair of shoes. These are the things that we fall in love with. These are the things that we are privileged to witness day in and day out. That spring, he had just broke the news that he was raising my rent. That if we were going to afford a wedding someday, I would need to start paying more. He came to me and said, "Babe, I crunched the numbers." He was always crunching numbers. "And you're gonna have to pay more. I know it'll be tight for you, but if we adjust the rent ratio and eat out less, we can start saving for the wedding." I felt like my landlord, disguised as my boyfriend, was laying down the law. As always, he told me this with a very straight face. As always, I tried so hard not to laugh. When we first moved in, he was thrilled to see that we have one of those industrial toilets with a pull handle. "Sweet, these things never get clogged," he said. One day, I was showering and Zach couldn't wait to use the bathroom. These are the joys of living in a 1-bed, 1-bath with a boy. So I told him the least he could do was sing to me if I was going to be stuck in there. Ever the gentleman, he complied, launching into a lovely rendition of Chicken Fried. About halfway through of what was now a duet, he flushed the toilet. Then he started saying, "Oh God, oh no, 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 this isn't happening. Shit, 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 babe, get out of the shower, quick, get out while you still can." I threw back the curtain, half sudsed, half rinsed, grabbed the towel and leapt into the hallway. The toilet water was slowly puddling and spreading across the tiled floor. "I thought these couldn't clog," I yelled, dripping from the hallway as he stood hunched over the toilet, furiously plunging. "Me too," he yelled back. He flushed it again. This time, water came roaring over the sides of the toilet, splashing onto the floor and rushing towards the hallway, which was also where we kept our clothes. "Oh my God," Zach screamed over the roaring and gushing noise. "We aren't prepared for this kind of a crisis. Throw me your towel." And so we continued like this. He screaming for more towels, and then t-shirts once we ran out of towels. Me running, slipping, dripping through our apartment, stark naked, as we tried to save our clothes and contain the flood. I think of this often. I think of what he said. We aren't prepared for this kind of a crisis. I remember the day that Zach died. It was a crisp, blue spring day. One of those days when you can't decide if the sky or the lake is more blinding. He was running a half marathon on the south side of Chicago. I got to the race in time to see him and say hi to him before he finished. But Zach collapsed at some point between seeing me and crossing the finish line. His heart had stopped beating. An unknown killer in the form of an enlarged heart finally catching up to him. After looking everywhere, I found him on a stretcher, being loaded into an ambulance. He wasn't breathing and they were having trouble finding a pulse. We aren't prepared for this kind of a crisis. I convinced the paramedics to let me ride along in the front seat. I should have known when the driver was getting choked up and held my hand as I asked, "But I don't understand. Why isn't he breathing? Who just stops breathing? He's 26. I should have known when they put me in a separate waiting room and had a chaplain sit with me, saying it was protocol since I arrived alone. But I was so confused and terrified that I believed whatever they wanted to tell me. I didn't dare consider the alternative. A young female resident came in with 2 older male doctors. I knew when I saw 3 doctors. The woman was sobbing, but the other doctors didn't speak for her. It was her patient and therefore her burden. I wanted to hug her and help her, but there was nothing to say. I used to consider myself strong, a euphemism for hard-hearted, standoffish, living behind massive walls. After Zach died, something cracked. I was vulnerable, emotionally raw, and filled with an enormous capacity for compassion, empathy, and gratitude that I hadn't realized had been lacking. How do I explain that this change has been abrupt? How do I explain that one day someone died, and the next day I woke up a different person, a better person? Following his death, the celebrations of Zach were seemingly endless. Necessary, I suppose, but always falling short of capturing him. Why all of the Bush Light and Harry Carey references? Is that what is seared in your mind's eye? What about his daily calls to his mom on his drive home from work? The time of day when he was most craving solitude, but chose to share it with her because he knew how much she had grown to love this ritual. What about the way he fretted over his golfing trips with his dad, worrying that his golf-averse brother was feeling left out? Yes, he was funny, incredibly funny. But more than that, he was beautiful. This is my celebration. This need to capture him. This need to capture us on the page. This is my long-awaited celebration, done on my own terms and in my own time. After gathering every ounce within me to carry the weight of my new reality, this is the time that I lay it down, unravel it, and reshape it into something that I love. Sometimes I wonder to myself, would he like this new apartment? No. He would think it's too small, too many things to bang his shins on. The ceiling fan height would definitely make him nervous. He still wouldn't let me in this kitchen. He would hate the step up to the bathroom, the lack of a designated space to dump everything when he got home. But he would love that the address is Lakeshore Drive. And he would love the view of Belmont Harbor. But no, I think this one is just for me. Thank you.